Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little different. I posted yesterday so you guys can ask me questions for a Q&A. It was for me and Patrick, Alex, and Dante. And I just thought might as well throw it out there because I know a few guys might have some questions for me and possibly the crew. So I wrote down some of the more important questions that are more important to me, and then the good questions that are to the group, just because some of those kind of out there questions are a little bit weird, and that could be for like another day, like maybe for a live stream type of thing, who knows. But the first question is going to be, how did I meet Chris? So it was about, I think, right after high school, so 2014, 2015. I met him because my friends and I, we would always have like a after work / like Friday night meet like behind a Lowe's, and we would all just meet up and just hang out, do catch up, talk about our days, and yeah. One day he came through and I had a 95 Corolla. It was automatic. I cut the springs on it. I purposely rusted out the car. You know how Chris rusted out the Beetle for Grillo? Well, he got that idea from me, technically. If Chris, you're watching this, you did get the idea from me because I had the Corolla first. I'll pull a picture of it right here. And yeah, I had that. And it was like some type of rat rod build I was going through at the time. It was my first car. I was like, you know what, I just want to be something different than what's out there, just because working 2 jobs, not barely have enough money for parts. So I just I did what I could. I cut the springs, rusted the hood and like some panels of the car, put a roof rack on it, spray painted a like dog fighter mouth thing. You guys will see it in the pictures. But when I first met Chris, he came through and was like, yo, this thing's sick, can I go test drive it? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And he test drove it. He offered me money to buy my only car that I had, my first car. He offered me like $200 to $300 for it, and I should have sold it to him, just because that would have been a come up, but I backed out and didn't sell it to him. And that's how I met Chris, and like we just hung out like every now and then. From there, we went to John's house. From the Lowe's meets to John's house, and it just progressed. And then he invited me over to his shop one day, and then it just went on from there. We'll continue with the Chris type of question. What made me move down here to Florida? Connecticut was normal. It was like nothing really changed often, from spring, summer, then you have dead winter where no one did anything. And it's just like, I was just tired of the snow, and life, you can't experience things in life if you don't take the risk. So I took the risk of literally gathering everything I owned, put it in my Miata, and drove down here. If it wasn't for Chris, obviously I wouldn't have the chance to do this. Me and Chris always talked about getting a house together because, he was like, trying to, up there in Connecticut, trying to get a house. I was always down to move in with him. And that transitioned into moving down here because first Spencer was supposed to take my place or Spencer was the main guy apparently to move down here with Chris, Marcus, and Courtney. And then Spencer couldn't because, he just got a new job, and he's doing well up there for himself. So he couldn't do it. So that's when I popped up. I told him like, hey, give me some time. Let me put my 2 weeks in, and then I'll be down there as soon as I can. And that was it. I packed up literally everything I owned and shoved it in my Miata, and made the 21? It was like 21 hours to.
Probably.
Yeah, 21 hours to come down here. Maybe 21, 22 for me. But I stopped in North Carolina because I had family in there. So I stopped there for a few days, and then at like 10 hours in North Carolina, then I tracked the rest of the 10 hours to Florida. The move was a bit scary at first, just because it's literally my first time actually going far from Connecticut. My farthest before this was H2O of last year, 2018. That was the farthest I've ever driven, and that was fun. Definitely fun. Definitely plan on going to future H2Os this year. I might not be able to go just because, you know, I literally just got a job down here, so I don't know if they'll give me the time off to go to H2O. I'm hoping. And yeah, you know, at first it was rough just because, you know, I was trying to like hustle and getting a job, you know, trying to settle in, trying to get my money straight, trying to, you know, just get everything in order, you know, register my car down here. It's all more legal and all that stuff. And then it was a lot to get used to just because, like, I think the first 2 months I just wake up and be like, where am I? And like, am I, like, I forget that I'm down here in Florida. I literally would tell Chris that. I'm like, damn, I can't believe I'm down here in Florida. You know, it was hard. I wouldn't say hard, but it was a big move just because, you know, you're leaving your family behind. You know, you can't just like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go stop and see my sister, stop and see my mom, or, you know, see my dad. You know, you can't do that. I'm like almost 1,200 miles away. So, and then you're leaving friends that you grew up with since like elementary school, and like friends that you met through the years, and it's just like, it's hard to leave those things behind. And it's just like I said, sometimes you gotta just make the jump and just go for it. Plans on the 240. Right now, the 240 is just gonna be a simple, just daily street car, just because like it's my only car. I know I say this all the time. I don't want to break it. I just want to keep it reliable. Like right now, the goal is right now just to get the manual swap done, and just, you know, do the maintenance on the car, just make it reliable as much as possible. I will be getting into maybe going to the compound here and there. Just, you know, I don't want to do like big drift events just because, like, me having no experience trying to, you know, go out there, make a fool of myself, you know, like, you know, that's just like a lot for me. And, you know, if something breaks on the 240, what am I going to drive next? Sure, Chris has a bunch of other cars, but they're not legal to drive technically on the road, not registered. So, you know, that's my whole dilemma of if I wanted to take my 240 drifting. I'd rather do the street stuff because I could just, you know, hit it and quit it and then just go home, you know, drive the car another day, instead of like hours and hours, well, I'm at multiple hours at a drift event, you know, beating the fuck out of my car and not knowing if I can drive the car home after a drift event. Because, like, what if I try to correct myself and I crash into a wall? You know, then what? Then 240's fucked. The biggest thing I would fear as a detailer is a question. Probably fucking up a car where I can't fix it. So, like, let's say I'm buffing a car, I don't pay attention, I'm going over the same place too fast and like just not moving at all, and I burn the paint. I can't go back from that. I mean, some say you could just wet sand it back and then you could buff it again, but there's to a point where you can actually buff to the metal. And that's one of my biggest fears, is just doing something on a car that I cannot fix. And especially since I work for Brayman, you know, I work on the Bentleys and Rolls Royces, and, you know, I don't want to even get into that just because you already know those are super expensive cars. Do I miss the Miata? I don't necessarily miss it, but it's just like having a manual car and then, you know, having all that stuff done to the car and, you know, just driving it and, like, you know, just having everyone, like, you know, like the car, you know, that gives me good vibes. And it's just like, I just miss that, the attention that the Miata got. Like, the 240 is like, it's getting there, you know, slowly but surely, you know, gathering parts and making that thing sick how I want to be. So I guess you could say I do miss the Miata, but not like the Miata itself. I just miss the things that it brought. You know, it brought friends, it brought, you know, what most people say, clout. But yeah, I think this is going to be the last question for me, and then I'll bring everyone in. But I could also branch this off to those guys too. A dream build of mine right now would be a JZX 100. You know, just because, like, those things are sick. You know, I think there are 1Js that are in them, and like just the way like I see how Adam got his white JZX, that thing was like how he got it was like perfect. How like it was on the work, I think XT or XD7s or something like that. It was, you know, super stretched tires, low boy, just, you know, stock 1JZ, making enough power to send it, and like it was, you know, it was perfect. And like that's how I would do it. It was just, you know, I just do it. I would literally just do it like that. That would be my dream build, the JZX 100, right there. Like as of right now, yeah, that would be my dream build, like JZX 100. So yeah, so I'm gonna bring the guys in now, ask them the questions, and you know get their opinions on.
They take pumpkin.
And I'll for you to take the 240.
And the 240.
The 240 is a little more clapped.
NANI?!
You hear a lot of
Those are fighting.
Yo, I hopped into your car.
Alright guys, so this is the next location. We are on, not the casting couch.
How? Oh,
The couch.
How much in frame am I? Oh, very.
I just had
Okay, already started.
I'm keeping that in.
Sorry.
I'm keeping that in. So Pat wanted to be director real quick.
No, I
but,
just wanted
so how you guys doing? We got Patrick Mahomes here.
Oh.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes here. You got Dante Hightower.
I'll take all five.
Oh, okay, Dante Cole. My bad. And you got Alex Smith.
Wow.
But you know, Alex, I don't know how to say your last name.
Tome.
Tome.
That's
what he
supposed
is.
to be down there.
I don't even know your fucking last name.
Narrow.
Merrill. And
Like the
then
Pokemon.
San Gregorio. It's a long. Sergio?
just Patrick.
Sang.
He's just Patrick. Their Instagrams will be right here, and I might post their cars. First question's gonna be, since you guys, well, where'd you come from originally?
New York.
New York. So
Oh,
everyone's from New York.
But he's Canadian, man.
Well, I moved to Canada, yeah.
Okay, so
From Brooklyn to Canada.
from the transition from New York to down to Florida, how was it for you guys?
I moved here when I was young, and I started the grade school down here, like, I think first grade.
So would you even remember moving down here?
I remember New York.
So you remember New York?
I don't remember much Canada, but I used to visit a lot.
Okay.
So, I mean,
So you're
it's a lot colder in Canada than here.
Well, obviously, I was gonna say you're a little irrelevant.
I'm a Florida boy. Look how dark I am, bro.
Well, yeah. But for Dante and Alex, they were from Buffalo, and they're, you know, they made the same transition as I did.
Chicken wing.
Buffalo,
I don't think they could see
New
it.
York. No, it's very.
It's very go on.
But it has the
You
shape.
can't see it. But it says Buffalo, New York, so.
I got a big fact. All of Buffalo is actually shaped like a chicken wing. Because
Someone's gonna comment, but it's gonna roast you. But so yeah, so how was the transition from New York down here to Florida since you guys came here before I did?
He came here before me.
Well, I mean, regardless, how was the transition for both of you guys in general?
My transition was great. I mean, I was starting to get sick of the snow and shit like that, you know.
So that's what like really like made you make the push down here.
I hate the cold. And I've been to Florida so many times, so, and my parents were moving anyways, so that's why I moved down here.
It was easy for me because I already had him down here.
Yeah, true.
I just pulled up to a good situation.
See that's the thing. You already had someone down here to move into. So, like for me, Chris offered. He was already down here. I was like a week behind before I finally moved down here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Marcus was already down here for like a year and a half already. So, Marcus moved down here first.
Really?
Yeah.
You stayed at that house?
No, he stayed with Jack over wherever Jack lives. You guys really have a car community up there in Buffalo?
No.
No. So comparing from up there to down here, how's the car community? Because that's one thing someone asked.
Like, going to a meet in Buffalo is like, literally like 15 cars maybe.
And it's the same
And
15
like,
people.
yeah, and
every
it's
time.
it's the same people every single time. Going to a meet down here, there's like
Like
minimum 60 people
Oh, yeah.
at least.
Yeah. Honestly, you guys were telling me about the meets before, like I came down
The
here.
meat that got me to
dude.
move down here.
Yeah.
Dude, the Unruly meets used to be savage.
Shout out to Unruly. I'll put their Instagram right.
Yeah, I mean it's not really a thing anymore,
But I mean, apparently they have a meet this Saturday.
They got one coming up.
Bois or
Yeah,
something.
something like that. Somewhere kind of far.
The first time I came down here to visit, they took me to an unruly meet, and I knew I was moving down here. That shit was insane.
Wild that you guys were
Insane.
showing
It
me.
used to be
I mean, if I could pull up videos, I would, but you know that would kind of get some people in trouble.
No.
So we're not gonna do that. We'll just give you a little hint. They shut down the highway.
Just think about the name.
Yeah.
It's
Unruly.
Yeah. So
So
we'll just do it at that. Shut down highway. You already know. Here, another question was like, how are the roads compared to up there?
They're
The
much
roads
better.
down here are fucking
Amazing.
amazing. Like,
it doesn't compare.
yeah, not
Flat.
Like up in
Flat and
Connecticut,
straight.
if you were static, you were ballsy because one would be
Bro.
scraping everything, hitting potholes, and
It's
then
the same with Buffalo.
your car would just get rusted out, clapped out.
Destroyed.
I
Yeah.
had a slammed RSX
Yeah,
in Buffalo, and it was crucial driving
Yeah.
that car.
but like all my friends eventually went to bags, and then they had money, so it's just like their bag setups were just That's basically the car scene compared from up north to down south. Up north, everyone went to bags because it actually helped them up there, and down here, everyone's static as fuck and super camper.
Dumb stuff.
There's a lot of camper down
Yeah.
here.
It is the next question from our friend Brian Mazda. Brian,
Brian Mazda 3.
Big fan.
big fan.
The biggest-
Who has the most clout?
Me.
They all say me. I mean,
F80 Kurt.
I think
Actually,
I was gonna say I think
Actually,
Kurt.
subscribe, like,
One-
follow.
Kurt,
I don't
Kurt-
have any
The one who has the most clout is the one who asked the question, actually. But
Brian Mazda 3. That's more
True. Brian, you have the most clout, sir. So
Boy.
that's it. That's settled right
Big
then.
shout out. Shout out Brian Mazda 3.
Yes, sir.
Big shout out.
it's Instagram right here.
Yep.
Right there.
He has a nice
You gotta put his
sedan
Instagram.
three
Right across.
sedan. I don't know how you want to fucking say it.
You gotta put his
It's a
Instagram.
Mazda 3.
Mazda 3 sedan.
It's
You know,
lower.
it's low.
Nice.
He's about them anime titties, so I think
Yeah,
it's about that life. He's cultured.
Fastest
so.
NA.
True.
Fastest ending in the group chat.
This question was a little random, but it was more towards me. But I was just gonna put it to everybody. Do y'all get pussy?
No.
No.
Female.
We're all car guys. We just chill by our cars.
True.
Too broke.
I mean, we get more guys than girls because of our cars.
It's unfortunate, really.
That's how most. There's no pause.
Pause.
There's no
Time
pause.
out. Time out.
Okay,
You know it. You know
Pause.
it. You roll to a meet. Are girls gonna flock to your car, or is guys gonna flock?
You
to
guys are like, yo, nice
honestly,
car, bro.
Honestly, I don't want girls at
Flaw.
car meets.
Scratching my arms.
True. The only way I think I'm gonna get laid at this point, if I just
I'll keep this.
listen. Oh yeah, keep that. Is if I just take a laminated MSRP sticker when I bought the car. And
Stick it up top.
Stick it on there.
32.
Hopefully they'll be like, oh, okay.
2018.
The gold diggers. The gold diggers are hearing you right now. Yeah.
Exactly.
That gets the most bitches.
Strategy.
Yeah, Pat gets the most.
Strategy.
Most
Take
bitches
notes.
for everyone. Pat's
That
like
car's
Pat.
clap to clap.
Project Matt.
Project Pat.
What got you into cars? For me, I grew up because my father and my uncles had like their little car group, so to say. Like my dad had a 2000 Honda Prelude. It was like the last gen, and when I was growing up, he would tell me, "Oh, my car has like 500 horsepower and all that stuff." Because when you're like 10 years old, you believe whatever your father says. And then my uncle had a original GSR Integra, those circle like ones. I don't know what model.
Like the ones you guys.
Yeah, the one. Yeah. He had a full GSR, like actual real, not just put a GSR motor into it and say it's a GSR. Like it came from factory as a GSR. Like he bought full bolt-ons.
I had a Prelude. That thing was so
Wow.
Well, he said something about a prelude.
You interrupted this story for a prelude.
I had to say it. But
Well, yeah, no, it's just like growing up. I've always been around cars and all that stuff, so and I've always liked them. So that's how I got into it.
It's like
I mean, Rolls Royces.
my whole childhood was revolved around exotics, so I'm more of an exotic person. It's
But
like,
you don't drive an exotic.
if I had money,
Wait, hold on. His car is an exotic.
Well, yeah, true.
Patrick's car is
Yeah. Pumpkin's an exotic.
It's a
Pumpkin
chrome
is
out
something.
pumpkin, bro.
Yeah.
Pumpkin is a one of one.
That I found about too, so I mean.
Even though people roasted you.
it's whatever. I drive it.
Dante, what got you in cars, my friend?
Well, my parents got divorced when I was really little. And then when my mom
Straight to sad boy sessions.
it's sad. It'd be like
Nah,
that
it's all
sometimes.
good.
It'd be like that sometimes. But when my mom and my stepdad, he like, okay, Christian. He has like when we ended up moving in with him.
Yeah.
He had older like muscle cars and shit, and like engines in the basement, parts everywhere and shit, and like just growing up around that and whatever. And he used to go race all the time.
Alex, other Alex, not famous Alex.
Whoa.
I'm gonna give you my undivided attention, Alex. I want to know.
What got you in the cars? You got Kurt's full attention here.
Me.
Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
See,
I'll go
I was
there.
thinking about saying that, but
That's literally the reason I got into cars. Fast and Furious and Harley Davidson, but mostly Fast and Furious.
Damn.
Harley Davidson.
You expect to guess.
Chris?
What is yours?
Kurt's not even in the cars.
Yeah.
Kurt's not
He's not really in the car.
Kurt is the
listen.
least.
So went straight into personal facts.
I can read the brochure. That's all that matters, really. Yeah, because I drove piggyback to the cars and I don't do anything else to them. Easy
Is your
shit.
Instagram still active?
Yes.
It's active.
Put
just-
F80 Kurt on there.
Yeah, if you go to
yeah.
F80 Kurt, you can see the M3 that is no longer. Now it's just a 320.
Explain what happened with the M3.
I'm poor. This is what happened with the M3. You don't have to explain much. I can't afford the shit when it breaks. That's what happened.
The M3 blew up.
It didn't blow up.
Hey,
It just had
listeners,
some
Sorry
problems.
to say it.
Issues.
It threw all 6 rods.
Jesus.
Brutal.
Okay.
Well, anyways, what got me into cars was actually Need for Speed Underground 2.
Oof.
Yo, that
No
was the
shit.
shit.
No one
That
hates
was
it.
the
I
shit.
remember getting
I
my
never played that.
Lancer. Wasn't even an Evo. It was just a
I never
fucking
played- I never
Lancer.
You never played Need for Speed?
Hmm?
Not the first big one with the BMW with the livery on it. I never played that.
No, that's Most Wanted. We're talking about just the first 2 Need for Speeds.
Need for Speed Underground, bro.
Need for
Like,
Speed Underground was legit. That was like the
Underground
first.
2 though.
Underground
Underground 2
I know the big thing.
Underground 2
Yeah,
was
with
the
the
next
free roam,
level
bro.
because you were
Yeah.
you were able to free roam. That was the next
Yeah.
level. Like you weren't able to do that.
but
in racing games.
even in 1 and 2, bro, at the end of the game, where you have to race the fucking car that's on the cover, bro.
Skylines.
That shit is dumb fast for no reason.
Yeah, but then when you got it in your possession, it's stupid slow.
No, it was still fast. It's just the way.
No, because I remember the first
Oh,
Underground.
it's just the way the opponents are set up with the whole like.
Well, I know that, but it's just like
It's just a setting.
Midnight Club was nice.
I know that, but it's
No,
just
I hated that game.
Midnight Club was like.
I love
It
it.
got over the top with the
But
cars.
for
It
me,
was so weird.
Midnight Club started with Dub Edition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the one that had like hydraulics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It started with Dub Edition off the rip.
facts. Fuck.
That game would piss me off so much, just because you'd be crashing into shit.
I
I
took
had that on my
Nazis.
PSP.
Yeah, he stole mine.
Favorite song to drive to at this moment, right now?
Let me look at my SoundCloud because it's where drive music is.
Okay.
I have a lot because I have different moods. It could be like all the way from like Suicide Boys to like J. Cole.
Suicide Boys makes me want to, Suicide Boy myself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that would.
Urban
Wow.
Latino.
They got some songs that just make me just.
Yeah, there's some there's some songs of Suicide Boys that's just like
The
yeah.
problem
but-
is we listen to so much different.
Yeah, I
We
mean, like
listen-
I could
We
go.
listen to Spanish music.
Yeah, we listen to Spanish music. I'm Asian, but I listen to Spanish music. So it's
Me
just
and Kurt listen to EDM music.
I've always listened to EDM.
And Pat.
Always.
EDM has been like in and out of my life. Because like, I remember one stage, I went from death metal to country.
Whoa.
I can listen to country.
I have all country.
I can listen to country.
I will say lately, I have been bumping to old boys.
Yeah.
So I can't even, all my playlists are random.
See,
I'm trying
for
to
me,
think of some.
my go-to, like kind of, I want to say death metal, but like I would say softcore would be like.
Is it gonna mean that softcore death metal?
I mean, what would you classify We Came as Romans?
I think honestly, I like cruising with
Metalcore?
Metalcore.
I guess.
We Came as Romans.
Dude, I don't know.
I mean, some of the guys might know We Came as Romans, but then
I think-
everyone started off with probably A Day to Remember, Devil Wears Prada, what is it, Cheeros or Cheer? I don't know.
Chiodos.
Yeah, Chiodos. Yeah. See,
With
see,
the-
I had that. I
with
had
the
that
one guy
stage.
from yeah.
I had that stage, so it's just like it's like
Weird
weird.
if you start dead at the camera.
I still live that stage.
I mean, I listened to it, some old Day to Remember, some Devil Wears Prada type shit. So it was just, yeah.
Still on my playlist for sure.
But like my music can go anywhere depending on my mood.
Hey, you dipshit.
Fast as you've gone and in what? So you guys, this is F80 Kurt here, and you guys have together gone climbing pretty fast.
The fastest I've ever gone was in his M3, and I believe we were around 170.
I think we were 167 that day.
I have a video of it. I'll send it to you, and you can put it in.
I mean,
Yeah, I think we were at 167.
we could put it in. I mean, we'll see how like because this video editing.
No, six.
It's shaky though too, but we were going like 165. You can see it on the dash, and Kurt's just like, "We got a lot of gears left."
Oh
Like, what the?
It was like fifth gear.
We're going like 165. That's the last thing you see on the dashboard. You're just
Yeah.
like, "We got a lot of gears left."
Yeah, I've been 182.
So 180.
Yeah, 182 and 06.
How does that feel? Does everything just become like Fast and Furious, just going past you?
It's quick,
Do
but
the
no,
lines in the
it's-
road become solid?
No.
Where'd you do that?
I've been like,
Fast as you've gone and then what?
The fastest I've gone is 163 miles an hour on my CBR 600.
See, you brought a bike into it.
It's not a car.
Well, I mean, it's still fast
It's
as
a
you've
fast-
It
gone.
doesn't say in what car, it says in
Just
what.
in general, it's fast as you've gone and then what?
That's
I mean, like bike scene, car scene, same shit kind of thing.
That sounds
If we're talking fastest I've ever gone, it's definitely took a plane.
I was in a plane.
Okay, no. Okay, keep that. No.
Planes go pretty fast.
That was
Well,
the
I
fastest.
mean, you asked a generic question. Give a generic response.
My toes
All
are
right,
cold.
You'd be a smart ass with that. But okay. Patrick,
Yeah.
fast as you've gone, my guy.
Not really, honestly. My car locks out at 118. And
You
anything
ever
else?
been in anything else?
Anything else? I haven't been fast. It's just chilling.
You ever just decided to break the law, like?
Probably like 120. I have no Canadian influence in me.
You ever just decided to break the law? Bad.
He's Canadian. He's too nice.
I haven't.
So was that 120
Because I
kilometers?
don't need to go fast anywhere. But chill.
That's
That's like 60 or 70 miles an hour.
See, with Chris, a lot of his cars, he just sends it. So, but a lot of his tax don't work, so I can't really know how fast some of the cars are. I mean, it was 135. We went
Are they straight line?
one, huh?
Are they straight line cars?
Just
More
sending
than
in
the others
Mexico.
is.
Just sending in Mexico. You know, yeah. But in his 135, I think we've gone 165. But personally, for me, I was chasing a SVT Cobra in my 1.18 Jetta. We were going 140, and it was a curvy highway in Mexico, and I was keeping up with them, and we took the corner at 140, and yeah, almost died.
Nice.
Scary.
Yeah,
Happens.
because he wanted to blow past me, so I was like, hey, let me just try to keep up real
Fast.
quick. And yeah, because I think in the Mark IV,
Especially if it's
Jettas, they cap out at like 140, 160, so it was pushing. It was pretty smashed. I wear black t-shirts.
A young Alex.
Oh yeah, shout out to Liam for the Fuji tee. Got you, Instagram right here. Go buy a shirt. Description down
You
below.
need merch, yo.
I technically do have merch, but it's not my merch. I'll get that into another video. But I do need merch. Sure.
That's it.
But it's just hard to start because I don't really have like a brand thing to
You can do
patent on.
Amazon.
But yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. A little different. Want to try something new. I don't really have any content for you guys right now, just because we're still stocking up on parts. This Sunday, picking up something low key. Lamb actually found it for me, or found it's multiple. But yeah, he found it for me because when he bought his Sparko seat for his S2K, you guys will probably see by the time I put this up. He found it for me through the same guy. Guy was parting out his car, so it's just like I'm picking something up. And Chris helped me out on it, and yeah, so Sunday that'll be a whole video in itself. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, put it down in the comments what you guys want to see next, and I hope you guys like this. I'll see you guys in the next one.